going back and recapping the Texas game. Much like I thought after the game, I thought offensively, much too inconsistent overall with our passing game. Just timing with routes and being able to get rid of the football, along with just having being aware of some protections. All of it just way too inconsistent. And in hindsight, too, probably just some of the run game. It's interesting when you look at it yardage-wise. When you take away sacks from Baker Mayfield, the running backs average a little over 4 yards a carry, which is usually, which is usually okay. But way too many pressures, way too many sacks in the passing game, and led to way too many third and longs. When you're in third and long, most of the day they're more difficult to pick up. Same thing with our defense. When we get people in third and long, we're a lot more successful getting off the field. So anyway, just too inconsistent up there, overall, offensively. Same defensively. We had our, early on, a lot of missed tackles. Fifth game into the year, you might see that in some of the first games. We've been a good tackling team, but the other day it really hurt us. The opening touchdown, we missed 3-4 tackles on that play. The long run towards the end of the game, we miss a tackle in the secondary, cuts off another guy and opens up a big gain. So, there just some plays there where tackling, we had guys in position. We didn't have mental breakdowns. We just weren't able to get a guy down when we needed to. Even the opening drive of the third quarter, where they get a field goal, we have them sacked on a third down play with a good blitz on, and would have put them out of field goal range, but we weren't able to come down. The guy breaks through from the tackle and picks up a first down. So we just weren't able to make plays there and know some of those situations when we needed to. Special team wise, again, a fumble on a kickoff return really sparked them. That we gave them, the momentum and allowed them then, from that point on to play with the lead. And that's how it all set up. I thought the one positive part, Austin Seibert, again, was really good punting the ball and placing the ball. He was really solid that way. But, again, credit Texas. They made the plays, in a tight game like that to win it. So it's on to Kansas State. We travel to Kansas State this week, a team that, just like a week ago, has lost 2 games, but have lost the last 2 games at Oklahoma State and at home to a top-ranked TCU team. They've lost both those games in the last minute or last 2 minutes of the game, where they've been last week we're tied, with just a minute or so, minute and a half, 2 minutes to go in the game, and ended up losing it. And the same with Oklahoma State. They were in a lead there late, and Oklahoma State got a field goal late to win the game. So anyway, a good football team. Coach Snyder and his staff, of course, always do a great job, and it's always a rowdy, tough place to play. So we got to make improvements here as we go through the week and get ourselves ready to play our best game going to Kansas State.
What's your thoughts about your offense now at the 5 games?
Inconsistent. Again, I feel we've got to continue to be able to run the football in a better way. And again, at times we had some plays there the other day that we did run it better. We probably need to run it a little bit more at times, and that part of it. And this passing game again still too inconsistent. We've got to do a few things in a better way.
On your offensive line with your protection issues, is most of the problem just identifying maybe with blitz guys coming, and when guys have to think so much they don't always react? Or
no, it's there's a time we missed a running back, missed a corner blitz that hurt us on one occasion. Other times we just got beat, with the rush. And that's where I say too, we've got to be able to with some of the protection issues we've had, to be able to our timing to be better, getting the ball out quicker I know that happened, really a couple of times against West Virginia, where also Baker needs to know we need to get rid of the ball, on time in some occasions as well. So it's a little bit of all of that. Like I said, a running back misses a guy one time, and an offensive lineman's beaten in his pass, in his protection, and other times, Baker's got to realize he's got to get rid of it.
Players took responsibility for being flat, Bob. Where is the responsibility lie between coaches and players? The fans want it all on coaches.
Yeah, and it's a college game, and I'm not going to sit here and call out. The bottom line is you talk about it, you show them why, you show them. We did our part. We showed them 100 times. We went through the last 2 years ago, the Texas game, and where they're ranked and where we're ranked and what's happening, and you show it to them, you show them. We even showed 10 minutes of the game of them beating us. So you can only, they've got to choose to, to be ready to play, and I can't figure out why that would be, that a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, when you only get to play so many times and you have a rivalry game, that they're not, So I didn't feel that way. That may be their excuse. The bottom line is we got out executed, and so I didn't feel that way. I felt we had a good week of practice. I felt like we came into the game knowing we needed to play well. You get in the game, and then you're not, they out execute you, get charged up. Then it appears that way, that they're excited and we're not. But when I guarantee you, had we scored a touchdown, kicked off to them, and recovered their fumble and scored a little bit later, we'd have been the ones charged up. So I think that's young people, and again, I don't buy they weren't ready to play, and again, you could put it all on me, but I don't play.
What adjustments did Lincoln make to picking up Texas blitz during halftime?
We didn't need to make any adjustments. We were blocking 5 guys. There weren't guys just coming free. They were getting beat. So, that's guys continue to get beat. But one time I told you the running back misses a corner blitz. Outside of that, there weren't guys that weren't blocked. They were blocked and beat the block.
Why did Mark Andrews have more of a role? It seemed like he'd had a couple good weeks where he was making some plays and really show up there.
Yeah, just didn't, for whatever reason, didn't get the ball to him. He's in the game plan like he is all the time, from week to week, depending on how people are covering you and the way they're covering you. Certain guys have more opportunities.
Bob, on their first quarter touchdown down the sideline, I think the receiver who got the ball broke maybe 1 or 2 tackles. And guys are going to do that now and then. It looked like in other instances you had guys there who could have made a play pretty easily. They just didn't make it. Was that a lack of effort?
No, it's not a lack of effort. It's a lack of execution. Like I said, the effort put them in position to make the plays. Yeah, the first touchdown should be a 0 gain or maybe a yard loss. We, stutter, stop our feet, cut the middle linebacker off. There's 2 guys there to make the play, and he's around the corner, and then 2-3 other guys don't get him out on the boundary. So just lack of execution.
We talk a lot about offenses, diversity. Baylor can throw it and run it. Texas was one-dimensional Saturday and still had a lot of success. How does that happen?
Because playing as a team, they started with the lead and were able to continue to just run the football because we never forced their hand, meaning we never scored points to put them in a position that they're going to have to throw. And after the first the 2 series, after the initial 14 points, we really did play good defense, and we gave up the one sprint draw, and if we don't give up the sprint draw, who knows? We've got a chance then to be in it, much like we did Tennessee, to have a chance in the fourth quarter to win it, or in overtime. But they make the one play, there in that with the draw to spring it, and but again, I just the way we started, or them being up 14 points and us not being able to score, allowed them to play close to the vest and to continue to run it just like they did 2 years ago.
A couple of key points I thought in the game, though. End of the first half, you had them backed up. maybe get the ball back, cut the lead, into the game, 3.5 minutes, get off the field, get a chance to win. And both times they just ran it, and you weren't able to stop them. And
yeah, the first one, we got to the first, when towards the end of the game, our safety goes up and doesn't stay outside the fullback, gives them a big gain. So, and then the third down play, our nose guard doesn't get all the way across, and he gets the hole up inside on the counter. The counter hurt us early, and it only hurt us on that last drive. We had played it, quite a bit then, through the middle of the game, and played it well. But that's, you got to make those plays when you need to.
Was there an inordinate number of
make adjustments or didn't need to make adjustments to their pressure? But they had a couple of 3 sacks, I think, with the 4-man rush as well. Was there a temptation to want to bring in Dimitri Flowers for pass protection to help out the offensive line? Because as much as they struggled, you guys just weren't physical enough.
Yeah, again, then that changes everything that you're trying to do with the passing game and the spacing of everything. So that's not easy to do in the way we operate.
4 receivers and 5 linemen was you think that was a pretty solid game plan against Texas?
That's what we're doing now. We're not going to go in at halftime and all of a sudden have a whole new offense. We don't operate that way.
Mike said that he saw that Swoops TD pass coming, but he was in the box and he couldn't let his defense know. Do you think that his communication with his unit has been hindered by him being up there?
No.
Josiah said that he was kind of tipping plays, run past plays with his stance, and something he has to fix. He said, that's something I can't do. How do you guys correct that, fix that?
Technique work. I got a lot of confidence in Coach Bedenbow, and that's something they'll work on, as they go through the week.
One of the beauties of this offense, Bob, has always been, even if you're having pass protection problems, you can get rid of the ball quick.
Right.
Short passing game is a way to just – you didn't get much out of the short passing game Saturday. Why not, do you think? And then when you say the timing and stuff, what do you mean by that?
That's what I mean by it. We need to get the ball out of our hands quicker and adjust our routes, adjust what we're what we're calling and how what we're asking, how long we're asking the quarterback to hold the ball. So all of that can to go with the running game, we need to get improve.
Bob, it's easy to understand your explanation of like the 81-yard run when Stryker wasn't in the position, you have 2 guys running each other and you miss a tackle. But are those things that, how good do you think this bunch is? Is that what you've seen some during the year? Or
well, you've watched it. No, we haven't missed a lot of tackles.
So it just kind of came out of nowhere?
Well, I don't know. You describe it didn't come out of nowhere. It just happened, and give Texas credit. They made us miss them. So I don't want to sit here and say they don't have something to do with it. The bottom line is, 5 games in it, we haven't been a poor tackling team. We were Saturday, and it hurt us.
One of the things about moving Mike up to the box was defensive communication, trying to eliminate some of the problems you've had in the past. You came out of 2 timeouts, and had to use timeouts. What's going on in the communication? Is still causing
communication's been great. We didn't have one missed call Saturday. We have had hardly any all year. One individual, when we came out of timeout, didn't look back to see us because they came off the timeout with a different set of people than were out there first, and he turned and didn't look at it. So he needs to look at us longer. It's the one issue we had the whole game. The rest of it, we didn't have any issues. So to say we are, you're wrong. We've been better than we've ever been in 17 years.
That was the first time out?
Oh, it was the one.
Right before the touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they came out in a different set, different personnel? Swoops was out there. The 2 tight ends, 47, 42, were out there. The fullback, 36.
When they come off the sideline, you're unsure what they're coming out in. We had prepared our guys for 2 different ones. One individual turns around and starts to get lined up to the formation, and it was the wrong one. He was supposed to be off. That's simple. Everyone else had it. He's the only guy that didn't have it.
But it happened again, I'm saying, coming out of the 3rd quarter, going into the 4th quarter, where there was a break, and then you had to use a timeout right out of that. So that was my question. Is it happened more than once?
Well, again, because coming off the sideline, you're always a little unsure. Players got to stick with us longer until we know what formation we want to deal with.
Mike seemed to think he could have stopped that that swoops TD from the field?
Mike couldn't have stopped it from the field because Mike isn't playing, and the guy's 50 yards away, and there's all kind of screaming going on for him to he could have, I don't, that's fine. I can't say what Mike said, but bottom line is Mike isn't playing. They ran the pass there on 3rd and 2. Him being on the field, I don't believe would have changed it.
Mike or Bob, it looks like one or two of the safeties is struggling at times. Is there any chance some of those talented young kids are going to get a look?
We'll see. We give everybody a chance, so that's possible. We'll see as we go.
What about offensive line?
We'll see. Again, those guys, we'll keep making them all improve, and I believe as we go, they'll make improvement.
One of the disappointing things Saturday, from an Oklahoma perspective, was the lack of physicality. It looks like you got pushed around some. Is that the way you saw it as well, or not?
Well, again, it depends on what it always seems that way when someone rushes for more than you do in such a way. And I look at it as they ran the ball 58 times and averaged, I think, 5-something a carry. What's with the 80-yarder, 81-yarder? They ran it 57 times for 4 yards on average, which is the same we did with our running backs. Now, they ran it more because they were in control of the game and were able to. So, in the end, I don't feel that way. I feel maybe in some ways our protection, we weren't good enough there or physical enough to hold that off. The rest of it, I don't feel that way.
P-Wright is a special talent. You mentioned feeling pretty good about 4 yards per game. Would you like to see him get more touches going forward, or is that too hard to do with the offensive line or the scheme you guys have?
Well, we'll see. I'd like to see us be able to run it, better and more productive, and him be a part of that. So, can we do it? We're going to keep trying.
Ty was up here saying, how physical practices were Tuesday and Wednesday. You did good on good. I'm curious, how much do you struggle with how much to be physical in practice, so it doesn't affect you on game days?
There's always a balance to that. But you've got to do good work against good people, or you get sloppy fundamentals. So,
I guess the real question is: do you feel like you're being physical enough in practice that it's not affecting you on game?
I do. I feel like we go good against good a lot. So yeah, I do believe we've got the right combination.
Bob, I want to ask you about the two-man defensive line flanked by the two linebackers. I guess you guys ran that like 50 out of 70 plays, and Texas averaged 6.7 yards against that. One of them was the 81-yarder.
So without the one play, what was it?
4.5.
Okay.
So with the 20 plays that you guys ran, the 3-man and the 4-man defensive line, they averaged 3.3 yards per carry. Is that part of being physical? Is just do you wish you'd run more 3-man defensive line? What was the plan? What did you like about that?
No, we felt we were going to use both, and we felt good about what we were doing in the 4. And for a good part of the game, it worked really well. So that's the other part that, you look at how many series where they don't get anything. So again, there's a good part of the game where that worked really well for us, and with the extra quarterback run game that they ran more than they usually had, we felt it was the best way to defend them.
They came in as kind of a one-dimensional team. Hurd had, I think in 3 of his starts, he had less than 120 yards passing, and they had that one dimension, and you guys were not able to take that away. Because of the 50 plays, I think that you ran that 2-man defensive line. It looked like they were just like, oh, they're going to give it to us. Okay, fine, we'll take it. That's the one thing Texas can do, and you guys were like giving it to them.
Well, I disagree. Again, I could dissect it with you, but there's a whole bunch of plays where they didn't get many yards. We forced how many punts? There's again, outside of the first 2 series, we settled down and played a really good game, and so. And I think the first touchdown, 2 touchdowns came in our 50 front.
Bob, do you have an update on Devontae Bond and how happy were you with the way PL played?
PL was fine. Didn't have a chance to make any big plays, but didn't hurt us in any way. Played a solid game. and we'll see on Devontae, as we go through the week. I'm not sure how he'll respond until we get out there.
Coach, the way your schedule sets up, you have plenty of opportunities to get back into the national picture. What do you tell your guys in terms of your overall goals, and are they still intact?
Well, it's simple. Like I said, a year ago we won this game and didn't end up having a great year. 2 years ago we lost this game and ended up going on and winning the Sugar Bowl. So we'll see. All you can do is get ready to play this week and be the best we can and make improvement and take it game by game.
With this quarterback that Kansas State has, are they still doing things that we've seen from Coach Snyder in the past, leveraging outside, how they leverage?
Oh, of course, yeah. Quarterback run game in all kind of different ways, and a lot of play action passes, a lot of deep balls. So
when you went to the air raid, you wanted an identity. Do you feel right now that this offense has an identity?
Well, again, it's just been inconsistent. So we're working on that.
Bob, your receivers, I thought, played really well against West Virginia, against a good secondary. They seem to regress. Not a lot of separation. Not many plays being made. Was this a step back for the receiving corps?
It's fair to say we weren't as as productive, obviously, as we were against West Virginia. So it wasn't. It's probably fair to say.
Lincoln's history as an offensive coordinator has been to involve the running backs. He's put up some big numbers with running backs. How do you, moving forward with the talented guys that you have, how do you make sure that as the head coach, that happens, that he gets those guys involved? What actions do you take to make sure that he doesn't give Samaje 10 carries in a physical game, or a Joe 6 carries in a game like that?
Well, again, it's what's being productive for us, what's working for us. Can the offensive line do what we're asking them to do, and fullbacks? So that's something we'll talk about. But yeah, tight ends, and so we'll keep pushing for it.
Bob, what are some of the reasons you've had a great deal of success in Manhattan with your teams?
I don't know. We've been, fortunate to execute well when we've played up there, and have got in there knowing it's going to be a tough environment and been able to execute and make plays. So it's all it is, really. Players making plays and being able to execute.
Kansas State uses a lot of the quarterback fake it as a run and then throw it. They've done that in the last few games and did it last year. How do you prepare your defense to know when they're running up to the line of scrimmage whether or not it's going to be a pass or the run there?
Yeah, they're actually run plays, and then he just, decides to throw it, at the last second. So you've got to do a great job with your eyes of keying your keys and being able to, lock on to a guy that's coming through the middle of the defense, and is he blocking or going out for a pass, and a lot of times, like I said, it's a designed run, and he's just running down the middle, and he can throw it at any time, so we've got to be able to, keep our eyes on him and be aware of him.
Bob, it looks like, though, that the linemen, again, that's that play where the linemen are downfield. Is this something you talk to officials about before the game and say,
Sure,
look,
but you just don't see it called much, Yeah, that's just it's the way college rules are.
Did Mixon it seemed like he was tackled a couple of times when he was in routes. Was he in several routes, or was I missing things?
Well, he was in the last series, but, I wouldn't say several times, but I know he was flanked out in the last series, and he was.
And tackled?
Well, sure looked that way, or wrestled to the ground. I'm not sure which.
Bob, you talked about players that have mental errors, the timeout situations, other things during the game, missed tackles. Is that something guys come with, or is there something you can do to try to avoid that? It really seems like that separates great teams from, the pack.
Well, again, one issue out of a timeout, one guy having to run off the field to me isn't a big issue. Missed tackles are a bigger issue, and again, that hasn't been our MO, for the first 4 games, and we just we're poor on Saturday. But I got confidence our guys will improve from it and tackle more like we have some of our other games.
It's not just the tackles, but you mentioned offensive linemen, just getting beat, stuff that you've practiced, obviously, and you expect them to do better, and it just doesn't happen. Is that
Well,
something?
That's the game. I mean, sometimes your opponent, gets the better of you. Sometimes you get the better of them, and they got more of the better of us. I mean, that's why you play.
Bob, you've obviously been here for a while. You've dealt with different types of teams, types of personalities. Given the fact that you felt so good going into this game and the team came out flat, is there some other way you need to figure out? I mean, do you have to figure out a different way to motivate this team?
We'll see. I find that odd, at kids this age, that, as I said earlier, aren't motivated to play in a game like this. So I don't buy it. I don't feel, that's the case. I feel, like I said, I thought we were ready to play. They make some plays early that sparked them. And then, and then we were playing, in a hole, trying to come back from it. So, but, you always look at different ways to motivate, guys. But again, it's, I find it hard to trick a 21-year-old into wanting to play. That seems juvenile to me, So it's, they decide and choose whether they're, excited and ready to play or not. And if someone's saying they're not ready, that's their fault.
Wheels kind of came off last season after your first loss. Does anything feel different about the makeup of this team?
We'll see. It's too early. We've only played 5 games, so just go back to work today and try and be better next week.
Bob, when you say you don't buy it, you seem to be saying you don't believe your guys were flat.
I don't. To me, that's an excuse. I didn't feel that way.
You like the sideline. You like, all the things you might judge a team's readiness seem good to you.
Yeah. As well as practice.
Mike said Saturday that he was surprised by some elements of the quarterback run game, I guess, which I think a lot of people find that amazing because that's kind of their thing. That's what they do, quarterback run game.
Well, they just added more to it.
That's what I was going to ask. Can you describe what elements they kind of changed?
Well, just some of the sweep with the reverse. The sprint and draw was already there. They had already run that, and that's not a quarterback play. That goes with their sprint game.
They get you guys out of position, like Stryker, for instance. The sprint draw got him out of position because he thought it was a pass.
Yeah, but
element of it.
Yeah, but again, it's not like we played it great probably 8 other times. Same thing with the quarterback counter. It hurt us early, then we stop it for a bunch, a good bit of the game, and then it hurt us late. But that's the game. We got blocked. Someone doesn't, get to the space they're supposed to, and then you have a play for them. So, that's just part of it.
You said after the Tennessee game that was probably one of your favorites. You said then it was your favorite, but then you reassessed. Do you keep a list of the worst or least favorite losses games? Would this be on it, do you think?
No, I don't. They're all on it. Yeah.
Bob, when you talk about motivation and being kind of, I guess, bewildered that kids wouldn't want to play, then who has to step up in the locker room? Who has to be the guys that gets this team motivated?
All of them. And every guy that plays. That's, guys this age, it's their job to be ready to play.
Are kids today any different than what they were 5-10 years ago as far as the motivation factor goes? Do they seem less motivated than what they were when you first stepped into this job?
Everybody, all teams are different, so I'm not going to sit here and say yes or no. It just doesn't matter,
Daniel Brooks had 2 carries, and you had him down close to the goal line. He broke a 14-yard run. Was he in for any specific purpose? You just like what he does with this offense? Seems to be a
his
quick
speed
hitter.
and quickness, help create some advantages.
Is he sort of a vintage air raid type tailback for that reason?
Oh, I don't.
In other words, you got Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine. There's got to be a pretty good reason to pick them off the field.
Yeah, but there's also Daniel's exceptional speed. So so he has his place.
Bob, every OU Texas week, your players and coaches reference this game as a fight. I think that last week it was don't pay attention to the 1-4 record. It's going to be a fight. does it irritate you that Texas has taken the fight to you more than the other way around the last 3 games you've played down there?
Well, again, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought 2 years ago we won. Well, a year ago.
You won the game, but there are aspects of the game where Texas was superior. Whether it was fight, I think by and large it's fair to say they've been the aggressor the last 3 games.
Well, again, I disagree. I thought when you win and you're up 2 scores late in the game, you've done a pretty good job, and you've taken the fight to them. That's my opinion. Anyone that's been ahead of us that way, I've never had any.
You guys were 0 for 10 on 3rd downs, though.
I've never had any. Moral victory when I've lost a game and maybe outgained somebody. I don't look at it at all like that. When you intercept a ball for a touchdown to get a good lead, when you return a kick for a touchdown and you take a good lead, that's how I look at it. Then you've controlled the game, and you're up 2 scores late in the game. I think that matters. Now, the other 2 games, yeah. Now this game and 2 years ago were very similar in how they happened. They got the early lead, and we weren't able to do enough offensively to make them get out of their comfort zone and how they were running the ball, and so they were able to continue to do it.
Are you able to gloss over that last year's win when you, like I said, 0 for 10 on 3rd downs? And
I'll take 0 for 10 and win every time.
I guess one of the points that you always stress, and a lot of coaches stress, is improving, showing improvement, playing well, doing your assignments, and you guys didn't do that last year, even though you won. And it was what it did was, I guess, raise red flags for later in the season of things that you guys were not good at.
Again, I don't need to beat a dead horse. Anytime you win a football game and win it, in a good way, I'll take it, and I'll go 0 for 10 every week and win the game if that's what it takes.
But you want to acknowledge the things that need improvement as well. Right?
I acknowledge that every week, win or lose. So I said that a week ago before this game, how we needed to get better, and certain things weren't good enough.
How do you get this offense jump start early in games? It's hurt in some games where you're just not getting a lot of offense first quarter.
Yeah,
first
again,
half.
it's just got to come out and execute, in a better way, and that's what it gets down to.
Bob, do you believe that a team is as good as its weakest link? Do you think that statement has some validity to it?
It's yes and no. I mean, that's sometimes certain things are, too hard to overcome, but sometimes you can. And some
pointing toward the offensive line.
Well, again, I think they'll, there's everybody you match up a little bit differently with everyone, and I think there's a lot of potential there that'll keep coming.
Well, because he played early, how is Drew Samia progressing? And I know last time you were asked, you said that Kenyon Friesen wouldn't be on the field anytime soon. Is that any closer?
Not right now. It's not closer, but that's something that we'll keep looking into. But Drew seems to to be making improvement as a young guy.
Bob, can you talk about the importance of Baker maintaining that trust in the offensive line after a game like Saturday?
Yeah, and I thought there were times Saturday that that he abandoned it a little too soon, and that's again it's understandable. I'm not on him. I'm just saying that he can lose a little bit of confidence, and then you give up on a route a little too early when it's coming open. So hopefully he'll be able to maintain his composure and trust in it and stay in there in some of these instances and deliver the ball.
Bob, it's a fine line between holding on to the ball as a quarterback, holding on too long, or getting rid of it in a short, in a quick manner. That's a fine line. How do you get that adjustment during the game?
Again, I'm sure on the sideline, Coach Riley's talking to him about it. That there's a time or two if you hung on a little bit, the route's coming open, hang in there and deliver it. And when you're not the one that the bullets are hitting, it's easy from afar to sit there and say, oh, he should have done this, he should have done that, and Baker, through these other games has really done a good job in a lot of ways, and maybe too has had so much success with his feet that that he wants to trust in them sometimes a little bit too much, and then that can lead to trouble, which a few times it did the other night or the other day.
What do you think of a guy coaching at 76 years old, and do you see yourself doing that?
Listen, I got all the respect and appreciation for Coach Snyder, as you guys all know, from having worked directly with him and worked with them for a long time, and was with them a long time at Iowa ahead of that. So, you know, and always does a fabulous job. But will I be doing it? Absolutely not. No way.
What is the reason we don't see guys coaching longer today? Is it the money?
Because of you guys.
How you like the social media? Bobby, you stay away from the social media, or do you hear the heat? I mean,
Are you kidding me? No, I don't. No, I got no idea about it. So
since the avalanche, because I mean the social media is just
of course it
immediate.
is.
Yeah.
So what? I mean,
I'm just asking how it affects you.
I don't even know it's there. And if you, thanks for reminding me it's there. I wouldn't have known going to lunch that it was there. I could care less. That's. You think for a second that I would look at any of that? I can't believe young people do. You know, that's when you ask if kids are different. I know when I was their age, I sure as heck wouldn't be reading it or listening to it. Heck no.
You ever encourage your players to, hey, stay away from, especially after like Saturday, loss like Saturday?
Sure, but I don't know if they do or not. You know, that's for the life of me, I don't get the attraction to it.
In-game adjustments, overrated, underrated, or would you care to elaborate?
Oh, you know, sometimes you know, it works well, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, it helps when you're able to do some things. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you're not able to, you know, depending on what they're doing or the matchup you may have. You know, it's hard to, you know, sometimes you can only do so much.
In this league, with all the quarterbacks and those, don't you really got to score 30 points in a game to win?
Well, I don't know about this league, but you look around the country and most of the scores are somewhere in the mid-20s and up. You know, when you look at about everybody, it just seemed that way as I'm looking at them. I may be wrong, but you know, it's around the country, not just in our league.
Sorry, is it tough to use social media in recruiting the way you have to when you don't understand or particularly care for it?
No, I just I found it really good because I'm able to direct message and immediately connect with the recruits that we're involved with. So in that regard, because we're not allowed to text message, it's perfect, and it's been really good, I believe, you know, for us, and got a lot of good conversations and connections with kids that way, and or be able to get them on the phone. You know, they'll, hey, give me a call, and I'm available now. They'll call you back. So it's been, I think that part of it's been great.
Bob, you don't. We all know, you know, how protective you are of your practices and people seeing things. And I'm curious, did you know it would be a bigger deal that Jay would be on that other sideline after spending 7 years here, or than you let on going into that week?
Oh, you know, to a degree, I knew it would be, but again, I don't, you know, I don't see that as that big a deal, because he was on our sideline for 7 years. It didn't make us miss tackles, right? I mean, so, you know, I just don't feel that was that big a deal. It's my opinion.
One of the first things he did, though, when he became offensive coordinator, was when Stoops went to the bench, he basically turned him into the bulldozer. That's you guys' package, which I know you guys ripped off from K-State or whatever, but
yeah, but again, that's
he's doing things there that he did or that you did here.
Well, I mean, yeah, some of it works, sure, but again, I don't know why that's a big deal. I mean,
well, he said after the game, like he knew he'd keep you out of your jumbo package on defense by having two receivers out there on the field with Swoops out.
That happened once, and then we had to leave two corners there and go up with the jumbo. So, you know, we made adjustments and it worked.
Speaking of the bulldozer, Blake Bell played last night, tight end. San Francisco did a good job blocking. Any surprises?
No. You know, Blake's I'm sure he's even bigger than he was here. He's a big, strong guy, a tough guy, and he's only going to get better at it the more he does it. You know, he hasn't done it that long. So, I'm glad he's having success.
Any more questions for Coach?
I guess that means that's it.